It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as Zelina Vega has been spotted at the WWE Performance Center, Chris Jericho will be out of action with an injury, and a former WWE superstar is in talks with AEW. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first, it seems WWE will be bringing an end to the Thunderdome in July, with plans seemingly in place to have fans back in attendance for shows. The Mat Men podcast have reported that WWE have main roster live events planned for July 16th to July 19th, with this being a test for a return to a touring schedule. This means we could see fans back on a weekly basis, with the July 16th SmackDown and the July 19th Raw potentially being the start of the fans being back on the weekly shows. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer is reporting that Chris Jericho suffered from a legitimate injury during the Blood and Guts match that took place just over a week ago. He will be out of action for 4 to 6 weeks, although it is expected that he will still be a part of the scheduled Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing in 2 weeks' time. The injury is suspected to have taken place during his fall from the top of the cage following the push by MJF. This past Wednesday on Dynamite, Jericho was seen with his left elbow taped up in a brace and is said to have picked up a possible fracture in the joint. Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle were on Dynamite to interrupt the Pinnacles celebrations, soaking them in bubbly that was being shot out of a vehicle, with Jericho being kept from doing anything physical. It now appears that the reason for this segment was to protect Jericho whilst he recovers from his elbow injury. And speaking of the bubbly segment between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, there was one man missing. One half of Proud and Powerful Santana was not with his Inner Circle teammates and was absent from the show. On the show, in kayfabe, Ortiz said that Santana was in jail because MJF had him arrested for using a fork in the Blood and Guts match. However, it is being reported by the Observer that Santana is actually off due to sickness and is being kept away from shows as a precaution, obviously because of the pandemic. Another member of the AEW roster to pick up a knock recently is Orange Cassidy, who was seen rolling out of the ring following a Liger bomb from Pac on Wednesday's edition of Dynamite. The show then cut to a commercial break, with the match being cut short as to ensure Cassidy was okay, with the two calling an audible for the finish. In the end, we saw Don Callis come out to distract Pac as Omega took him out with the AEW title belt, leading to a no contest. The original plan is said to have been for the match to end in a time limit draw, so the injury had no real effect on the overall outcome. Fightful are now reporting that Orange Cassidy is said to be okay and will be ready to go in the three-way main event at Double or Nothing. The show will close with an AEW World title match, with the champion Kenny Omega defending against both Pac and Orange Cassidy following the no contest during the number one contendership match. Following their match on AEW Dynamite, Yuji Nagata has shared a picture of himself with Jon Moxley after unsuccessfully challenging the latter for his IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. In the photo, the two were sharing a beer, continuing the signs of respect that they showed on screen. Nagata added a caption to the photo which read, "The bodies came tattered due to each other's struggles, but at the end of it was no side. Cheers to Moxley, AEW, the United States, and professional wrestling fans around the world." And just to note, that was translated using Google Translate, so some of the grammar and structure was off, but you get the idea. During an interview with ESPN's Sports Nation, Darby Allin revealed a story from the filming of the cinematic street fight where he teamed with Sting to take on Team Taz. As a side note, the interview was hosted by a recent WWE employee, Charlie Caruso, who left the company to join ESPN. Allin revealed that himself and Sting were pulled over by police 3 times during the filming of their entrance, where Darby was hitching a ride on Sting's truck on his skateboard. He said, My entrance I was filming for the pay-per-view at AEW Revolution with Sting. We were filming that entrance and we got pulled over 3 times by the cops. They just saw me skating down the street. It was like 3 in the morning and I was in my face paint speeding in a truck and they were like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "It's for professional wrestling, AEW." Fortunately, the shoot was allowed to continue, but those officers are lucky that they didn't get hit with a stinger splash and a coffin drop. 7 months ago, Zelina Vega was controversially released from WWE following a dispute with the company after she refused to stop streaming on Twitch and subsequently set up an OnlyFans account which breached their new policy on talent's use of third-party platforms. Fightful are now reporting that Vega has been spotted at the WWE Performance Center to film content and that there is a quote working plan to bring her back into the company. The report states that she was filmed walking into the PC with Simone Johnson, who is the daughter of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Wrestling Inc. have also added an extra layer to the story, stating that there has been plans for Zelina to return since before WrestleMania 37 in April. This practically ends any rumours of a jump to a rival promotion, with AEW's Tony Khan having publicly expressed interest in signing Vega to a deal once her no-compete clause expires. And for our final story, let's take a look at the future for Zelina Vega's former client Andrade. In March of this year, the former NXT and United States champion was granted his release from WWE after being unhappy with his position in the company. Since then, he has been announced for several shows in Mexico, including a match against the former Alberto Del Rio, as well as a AAA Mega Championship bout against belt collector Kenny Omega at TripleMania. It seems Andrade and Omega's paths could cross in All Elite Wrestling before then, as Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer is reporting that the promotion is in talks with the Idol. And before we continue, why not go and grab the free Young Bucks audiobook using our Audible affiliate link in the description below. And while you're down there, why not subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming videos. But let's get back to the news. It is currently unknown as to how negotiations have developed and as to what stage the two parties are currently at, but there's no doubt that Andrade would be a major player in AEW should he make the jump. Andrade has teased an AEW appearance on social media in the past, having posted a jaguar emoji with a fist, with many fans suspecting this as a hint towards the Jacksonville Jaguars, who of course is owned by Tony Khan, who also owns All Elite Wrestling. It should also be noted that although Andrade was released on March 21st, which under normal circumstances would mean he wouldn't be able to work for another promotion until the 19th of June, he has confirmed that the usual 90-day no-compete clause does not apply to him. This could lead to a cross-promotion between AAA and AEW to build to the TripleMania showdown, with the two promotions continuing their ongoing relationship. Of course, we will keep you posted should there be any updates for this story. And speaking of Andrade, check out my video where I predict 10 jumps between AEW and WWE in the next 5 years.